All right, welcome on in to Reseller Unscripted. I'm your host, Dusty, and today we're going to tackle a topic that's on everybody's mind right now, the summer slowdown. I'm joined, as always, by Chris from Daily Refinement, Ari from Smart Threads, and my wife, Laura, from Our Cozy Corner. If you guys could take a second, give this video a like, and follow our channel. That greatly helps us to keep bringing you awesome content. So we're going to get into it. We got some questions kind of geared around the summer slowdown, and then we're going to give you some strategic different things that we do to kind of help our sales in the summertime. Ari, let's start it off. What months do you see the slowest sales?
Hey guys, I think honestly, everybody right now is experiencing a little bit of a sluggish season. We've been in a heat wave now for the last, I don't know, week on my side, but just in general in the summertime, things usually slow down. Everybody's on vacation, everybody's already done their shopping. I'm thinking right now, that this should have resolved by September, but definitely, starting end of June all the way through like August is really going to be like that slower season. I just think, post summer, come September, everything's going to be rocking and rolling again. But, just stay focused, keep grinding. Not every day is going to be a home run, but just know that like during the summer months is when you should expect a slowdown unless you're selling a hero product.
Yeah, we definitely agree on our side. Usually, like June, July is the worst for us. When we get back from our conventions early August, that's usually when things start to pick up. All right, Chris, in your years of experience, is this a normal summer, or are we seeing some ramifications of maybe a struggling economy on top of it?
So this is interesting. I actually think currently there are a lot of sales on live streaming. If I look at all the different streams, but I
Mm-hmm.
think a little bit different because I think people want to go on summer vacation and they go to concerts and trips. But I feel like the economy definitely is struggling. I think the job market is horrible. So I think a lot of people are spending money instead of on trips on fun online. It's a little bit more accessible. I would guess that currently DoorDash is on fire because I just feel like people are at home. So like I think if you can make an entertaining stream, it'll be really popular right now because I'm finding the entertainment ones are doing really well, and the what I'm selling retail stuff, those are doing as expected lower than normal. So I think right now um, is when I'm getting like 100 to 200 applications every single job I post. So people are looking for work right now and maybe not traveling as much. So I think that they're stress buying online still. So I think this year for me is less slow than last year, but the categories are different.
Interesting take on that. For us, it's a little bit different because we weren't at the same scale last year, so it's really tough for me to kind of tell where we were last year. I just remember it being slow for the last 2 years that we were on. And last year we only had one employee at this time. And now we have 20 plus employees. So I feel like we're feeling it as a business a little bit more this year just because of the overhead. Your sales slow down, but your overhead does not. And so I feel like we feel it more this year. But I tend to agree, Chris. It definitely seems like the more entertainment that you can bring to it generally is giving us a better show. When we feel like it's a stagnant thing where we're running the same brand, it's not as well attended. People are trying to find that entertainment a little bit more. Laura, in your view, why do you think sales dip in the summertime?
Um, I think just like Ari said, I think people are out having a good time in the summer. They're hanging out with their families more, especially during the day as well. Like there's not as many people on. Um, I think a lot of our viewers are stay-at-home moms or like retired ladies or people that work in an office, and so like the stay-at-home moms, they're home with their kids because their kids are out of school, and we're seeing a huge drop of not just sales but viewership as well. um and like Chris said, it's really important to still keep it entertaining, but see it like going from having 100 to 300 people in your room and then have it drop to like under 50, it's discouraging. But you still got to put on a show, and sometimes it's a little bit harder when it feels, for me, when I go on and I see less people in the room, it feels like not defeating, like it just feels like I take it personal, but I know it's a slower season. So anyway,
I
I
just
think people are just having
I
more
just want to pick up
difficulty.
one thing that you said though. Like, yes, it can be discouraging, but you also got to understand is that like Whatnot is growing at an extensive rate. There are new accounts that are popping up every single day, and it all really comes down to your inventory. Number one, I think, and then number two is the vibe that you give to the audience.
Hmm.
If you go into a show discouraged, you're gonna have a horrible show.
Yep,
See, like
I know.
recently, I've been running a lot more higher end inventory, like starting things at $85, starting things at $70, starting things at $49. And I know that I'm not going to have like this massive audience in my room because, again, it's not for everybody. Just like you can't. Here's what I told some of my sellers the other day. I said, when you go on camera, you cannot just expect things to sell. It's just you can't.
No.
You cannot. It doesn't matter what you're doing. You just cannot expect an audience to be there and expect for things to sell. It all comes from your energy, number one, and then number two, the inventory that you have. And if you fall
Yeah.
off on either one of those, the whole entire wheel is gonna break. you know so one, it is a slow time because it is the summer. Two, there is a lot of competition on Whatnot right now. A lot. Everybody has a lot of really good inventory is like, there's more brands that are coming on, there's more people that are linking up strategic partnerships with other brands with their off-price model. And then there's other people that they are putting on a show. To go off what Chris said, like, they are putting on a show. Anytime, I'm going to use Cool Kicks for an example. Whenever he goes live, there's 1,900 people in his show because he does one massive show, and that is his massive show. And he puts on
He
a
also
show.
has a millions of followers from
Millions of, yeah,
YouTube.
his business outside of Whatnot is already massive. So he's already
Yeah.
able to bring those followers over. But just because of his one business being so successful, he's able to line that up with Whatnot too. And he puts on an entertainment. He basically
Hmm.
takes everything that he's done on YouTube the past couple years and with his businesses and ties it all into Whatnot. And it's like this whole experience. So one, you could be putting on a show in these times, or two, you just got to go in there with good energy. Whether you have 5 people in there, 10 people in there, or 2 people in your show, if you have people buying, that's all that matters.
Right. And I agree with that. It's when there's less people and no sales, you know?
And sometimes you just gotta pull the plug.
Oh, I know.
I pulled the plug on a couple shows yesterday.
Hmm.
Like,
I've
it's
been.
either
Go ahead.
it's either gonna work or it's not gonna work. Like, I literally had a meeting with my team the other day. I said, look, like, I'm paying for a full staff. If the show's not gonna go well, it's not gonna go well. I don't want somebody sitting on camera like begging the audience to buy something. It's like retail. I worked in retail for a very long time. Okay. The difference with Whatnot is that there's customers in your shows ready to rock and roll. When I worked at Nordstrom, you would have to be waiting around for a customer to come in. Then you would have to schmooze them, build them out a fitting room, and then maybe you will get a sale. Versus Whatnot, it's the swipe of a finger.
Hmm.
So it's just, you cannot expect these things. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just saying that I've been planning mostly short shows
Mm-hmm.
because in case it doesn't do well, which during this season it's probably not going to go well, or it'll be hit or miss, right? Then it's not as discouraging for staff too, because like even if you are coming in full energy and there's no sales, um, and eventually you'll lose your enthusiasm. That's why I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to have the shows be short. So just in case, we can pull the plug easier and it's not as discouraging to have an 8 hour stream planned and
Mm-hmm.
pull the plug in 15 minutes. It's very sad. But
Mm-hmm.
on the other side, um, if a show is doing well and there is momentum or interest, then we'll move the next show because
Uh,
if it is working, let's just keep going. And yesterday they had a stream where the streamer right in the middle of the stream said, "Hold on, I'm going to do a giveaway, guys." And then she texted me and everyone and said, "This show needs to continue." So, I'm going to be off in an hour. You guys need to be ready. Come 30 minutes before the stream ends so we can transfer the vibe properly, not like switch out the dealer right away and disorient everyone. We got to build them in. So
Yeah.
that was a really helpful thing because they realize now momentum is harder when there's this much competition and this few people, right? If you get something going, you got to really try to maximize it because in the winter, it's almost like you can price everything 15% higher. All your streams have tons of people, or all these gifts that need to be made. In the summertime, though, people are a little more selective, a little more discerning. I actually think you should take your time more in the summer because people aren't.
Mhm.
They're like they can choose from more sellers, and they don't need anything for sure, and they don't need any of the items that we sell. So take that extra time, try to build rapport because the fast paced sales is going to be very difficult in the summer. In from my experience, like the
I agree.
faster it seems like the lower the sales.
I totally agree with you, Chris, on that.
Yeah, those are definitely some good points. And like you said, Ari, inventory plays a huge part in it. You scroll through all the shows, there's so many people that are live right now. Everybody wants to chase this dream of being able to be their own boss and do their own thing. And you search through it, and there's so much difference in shows. You'll go past one show that has 350, and the next 10 shows will have 3 people in there. So there's definitely a difference based on what inventory you can bring in. So learning, and we're going to talk about that a little bit, inventory management in the summer, but learning what actually runs and sells is so big. And then kind of to Laura and Ari's point, looking at your rooms, it should be more important. Do you have buyers in your room or do you have numbers in your room? It's one thing to have 100 people in there, but if nobody's buying anything, it doesn't really matter. And we've talked about that before. But if you could, we have shows where we have 15 people in there. I got a show running right now. It's got 15 people in there, but it's been running all day long and it's fine. We have the right 15 people in that room, and that's what matters. So
That's all you need.
focusing more on your bottom, on your bottom line is very much more important in the summer, at least for me personally. Because like Laura said, it can get discouraging if you're just looking at the number up in the corner of how many people are actually there. All right, let's
I
jump
can
to the
use
next
like a
one.
real example too, real quick. Is that like, for example, I did a show last Saturday. I had no more than 35 people in that show the whole time, but it did gross over $29,000 in under
You have the
five
right
hours.
people. Yep.
Correct.
And that's what
Again,
matters,
like
getting the
it's
right people
all
in.
about, I don't need 1,000 people watching me. If I have 35 good buyers in there, that's all I need.
Yep.
Sorry. I
Yeah.
thought I had to
Love
make.
that. No, you're good. Chris, how do you handle the pressure or stress of a dip in revenue when bills and inventory costs don't slow down?
It's I guess just this is my third year now, and I realize that the peak of summer slowdown for me is actually in August. So I feel like we're not even in it yet. We're like 2 more months of struggle. And on top of that, I was sharing before we started the podcast, it's difficult to staff during the summer. So not only are there less customers, I have less workers. This week we have 6 less streams than last week. And that's tens of thousands of dollars different in revenue just from people not coming. And then also like um, hours online are I think are obviously so important because you have to have an opportunity to sell. But like right now, I think we're in June, so it's June 26th. I still think there's 2 more months of slower and slower, and then right when people go back to school, their kids are not with them 24/7, and now they have a little more time to do other things like shop. So I feel like this is the beginning, and how I deal with the fluctuation in revenue is just I guess savings. I already expected this month to be bad, next month to be worse, and then August to be horrible. And I also like didn't spend any money Q4 and one because I was like it happened the last 2 years, so I'm just gonna not do anything. And then July 4th, I wanted to just say one more thing on the slowness. All big companies issue a lot of promotions during slow times, including us. We might spend more money on a bigger giveaway or more interesting things to bring people in when it's slow, right? So there's a lot of whatnot promotions right now for different shows, different And you can see the marketing that's coming in. It's much higher than normal. That means sales are slow. So like eBay at one point, they did $100 coupon, and it like broke the internet because they just said to every customer on eBay, $100 off, whatever you want. And like there was like the record like low sales when they did that, right? And then all these people came on to or eBay, and it backfired because like they're like, when's the next coupon? And eBay was like, there is no next coupon. That was a one-time coupon. And they're like, okay, cool. I won't shop on eBay anymore. So we have to like be careful to do that, right? If you get a reputation for only doing huge giveaways, then that's maybe the wrong customer. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's some really good insight there. Let's jump to the next one. We got a couple more minutes to finish this one up. Laura, do you think the slowdown is specific to Whatnot, or do you think everybody's kind of experiencing this, eBay, Facebook, Instagram, and beyond?
Well, I think overall slowdown season is worldwide. As far as Whatnot, I think I consider us three bigger sellers on Whatnot, like more followers, more time that we've been on the app. I I think Whatnot is trying to push the smaller sellers right now and help them out for the fourth quarter. We already kind of have it figured out. I'm not saying we're perfect, but like we got it going on in the fourth quarter, but these smaller sellers have yet to get their feet wet. So I think they're doing a lot of promotions for them and they're pushing their shows because there's people I've never seen on there that has 200 people in their room and selling like Sapo shoes and stuff. I've never seen them on there. It could also just be happenstance, but both Dusty and I noticed the same thing. Industry wide, I've heard that Poshmark is really slow. Um, we don't do Poshmark. We do eBay. We started here in the slow season on eBay Live. We have yet to make a profit, but that happens with everything when you're just starting. So I think sales wise, yes, everything is slow right now.
Yeah, I can echo that, but it definitely feels like, and it makes sense, right? If Whatnot wants a ton of new sellers to really crush it for them to collect fees in the fourth quarter, why not support a bunch of those smaller sellers during the summertime? The larger sellers are probably going to be fine. They don't need a whole lot of promotion going on, so it makes business sense. And I don't disagree, but I also think, as part of your point too, Ari, there's a lot of companies that are just starting to jump on, and they already had amazing inventory and they're just discovering Whatnot, and they're like, man, okay, this is awesome. So I think there's a piece of that too. Ari, if you could give one piece of advice to a newer reseller about surviving the summer slump, what would it be?
The one piece of advice that I would give right now is just don't beat yourself up just because you had one bad show. You got to remember, like I've said this in other episodes, is that like not every day is going to be a home run. Like I have a goal every day that I want to do X amount of dollars, and it is not the most realistic goal, but I can't beat myself up just because we didn't hit it. You just got to keep pushing, do your best, and just put on a good show at the end of the day, no matter what. You know. Sorry, Kong is barking at the door. 1 second. And just saying that is like if you think you have bad inventory, you don't have bad inventory. You just need to sell it, right? Everybody has their own journey and their own adventure on Whatnot. This person could be selling something, that person could be selling something. You write your own journey on what you are selling on Whatnot or eBay or Poshmark at the end of the day. One thing that I've done in preparation for this is that I sort of knew that this summer was going to be slow. So the past 3 months, I've been really hammering brands and just being like, hey, can I buy your inventory? Can I buy your inventory? Can I buy your inventory? I'm taking rejection left and right. People going, well, what the heck is live sales? Or like, why would we sell you this inventory? Why would we do this? Why would we do that? Like, it is literally a game of numbers and rejection. So like if I were you, I would constantly be just hitting up people that might have inventory, hitting up brands that might have inventory, and you never know what's going to happen. But just you got to remember, like, not every day is going to be a home run. You got to embrace the suck and take the suck and turn it into something truly amazing.
Yeah. We're kind of transitioning. We've had a lot of team meetings over the last couple of weeks, just kind of figuring out this summer slowdown. And a big portion of what we're trying to do right now is just my advice would be get back to the basics. Yeah, we built our channel on being live all day, every day. It's a place for people to come and just be themselves, talk about their days. Like Laura said, some of them are at work and they've got 2 monitors and they have us up on one and their work on another. But just getting back to the basics of just being live all day, every day, having great product, having different options for each of our sellers, and just bringing a fun environment every day. So that seems to be kind of picking up a little bit of our sales, and it also spreads that risk. I think, Chris, you had kind of talked about that a little bit, but the more you're live, the less risk that you have. Your overhead's pretty much the same, give or take a little bit of employee hours, but your building cost doesn't change. You're just capitalizing on more hours out of the day. And that kind of brings our amount we need to make an hour down a little bit lower. And so that's kind of the route that we're going to help alleviate some of our summer blues that we got going on here. All right, let's talk inventory strategy. And this is there's going to be a lot of different takes on this, I got a feeling. But Chris, what categories or products tend to keep selling well for you in the summertime?
Top category for me is handbags. It's year round. It's the most difficult category to source for me, but it's popular year round and it doesn't have the problem of sizing. So, duffel bags, backpacks, carry on luggage are great. Oversized luggage is difficult to ship, so that's been cost prohibitive, but the carry on size has been reasonable. So, like, that's not something that I want to focus on, but that category does do well in small quantities. I would make a purchase of like 25 or 50 carry-ons. I wouldn't buy pallets of it. And then I think in the summer, what I've been trying to diversify risk by really buying under 500 units. So, which is very crazy because we're used to buying 10,000, 5,000 units, but I'm paying double or triple the price. Like it's $10 a unit for a take all. I'll buy for $23 for 500 pieces, and I'll profit more than buying all of it for $10 and getting stuck with 80% of it. And like my audience is super burned out from me doing 12 of the same show in a row. So, like one show, we only have these 500 pieces. They're right here for you. That's been diversifying my risk in a sense that like, and if I mess up, it's only 500 pieces. So right now, I think everything is working on a small scale, but the problem is it runs out after 1 or 2 shows. So, and also if you're buying 1 or 2 pallets and you're paying $23, you can pretty much buy any brand. When you're trying to get the items for $10 or less, they're like, okay, you got to buy all of our bralettes also, and these plastic straps that we use for these bags. Those are also $9, right? And then this is like super duper like important industry information for those getting started right now. Let's say you make an offer and they want $17 a unit, and you say the most I can pay is 6, and then they say, okay, cool, 6, right? That is unusual. And what usually happens is they just send you a third of the inventory and they just hope you don't count. That is like extremely common. So like be careful if people accept your offer, because I'm finding they're just getting the same amount, but they're just sending less. And this has been
100%.
multiple categories, multiple sellers. And if you get a reputation for not counting, expect a million people to call you and offer you really good deals that are too good to be true because they know you don't count. It's a really small world. Lots of people don't count, and
We started counting.
you have
Oh
to
yeah.
count. You have to count. So,
Yeah, because I told you, Chris, that we found what, like 400K in shortage in the past year.
I mean, you'd be the person to short if you're not counting, because the paper is not the same as what it comes in. So, like, Everyone now knows Ari might not count. The deals are going to be coming in. Aloe for $6, baby.
Hey,
Or
everyone,
don't count
we're
it, and they
counting.
they
No,
come in.
how
Yeah.
now we count everything. We use an entire inventory management system. Like I can log on right now in the Zoho and say, boom, I know everything I have. I know every single
Literally,
piece I have.
I don't think I can tell you a shipment in the last 6 months that have not been shorted for us.
Oh,
Yeah,
Literally
I'm
not a
down
single one.
literally 400K in shortage, which is about 1.4 million dollars in revenue.
and that's the that is how this liquidation industry actually works. Like, I actually think that I just watched a YouTube video on the GRP liquidation,
Hmm.
and somebody said that they did $10 million in sales last year, right? And they bought things between 10 and 30% of retail. And somebody put in the comments, I'm pretty sure you'd lose money if you only bought it at 10 to 30% retail in this industry, right? Nobody really noticed that comment, but I noticed that comment. If
It's
you were
really
paying
expensive.
if you were paying 10 to 30% of retail on $10 million worth of sales, you could easily lose money. That's a little bit too, that's like way too much for some of the stuff that we sell, right? So that's like a good indicator of like this business, people are buying for 10 to 30%, right? And that's not a profitable buy amount, right? So they're being creative in how they sell it to people, and that's where it starts to get in trouble, right? So this is
I
where, that's where it is.
I don't want to go on a whole rant, but like the people that are buy, I know everybody that's listening right now. Like if you're one of those people that are going into a show and you're just buying these boxes that people are showing, you are not going to make any money unless you know exactly what's going in the box. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I can't
No,
stand it.
you're good. We hit on that last week, and I know it's a continued thing. Again,
I
I check
just
the
can't
Facebook groups a lot,
stand it.
and it's literally every day somebody is posting about that.
People are getting
So
scammed left and right because people are throwing actual, excuse my French, shit in a box, extra small smalls. Maybe they'll throw one cream of the crop item in there, but you're getting effed at the end of the day. Seriously. Like if
fire
you don't know,
education.
I'm trying to educate people because
Yep.
I like for example, like I think it's just so insane. Like yes, whatnot is part a casino. I think we're all casino operators at the end of the day. But like there's a way of doing business and a way of not doing business. And maybe in the past I have thrown stuff in bags, you know, but what I'm seeing like happening now across the board, it's like a trend is just let me throw a whole bunch of stuff in a box and run it off the hype. Like people are not going to win. A lot of these brands cost on our end $2.50 a piece, $3 a piece, $4 a piece. These are brands that don't even exist anymore. You are not going to make a dollar. You're going to be upside down. Now, that's not for everybody. There's some people that actually do it right, where they are giving you a good deal. But you should be able to tell, hey, is this a good, am I buying something off of hype or will I actually be able to make money here? And where do you fit in the middle? Because I guarantee you 90% of people are just offloading inventory right now, liquidation style, because it's a slow month and they're like, you know what, maybe I'll put a whole bunch of more items in to raise my ASP to offset this Kaka inventory I have to give it to you. Again, like I'm noticing this as a trend. And like I really hope if you're a new person out there, like you do not fall for this. Because you will end up upside down. Maybe you'll get a really good bundle. Maybe. Otherwise, you're gonna get screwed. And then you're gonna leave a shitty review. And you know, you're gonna have Kong upset too. And just don't fall for that. Please.
Yeah, that's what we're here for. Learning together. All right, we better keep rolling. We're halfway through already. Laura, do you take summer as an opportunity to test new things or play it safe?
Ah, we've done a little bit of both. So testing um high-end makeup right now, some Sephora and Ulta and Nordstrom makeup. It's been going really well. Um so sorry, I was trying to think of my thoughts. So our our overhead is very large, so there's not much risk that can be taken in the summertime. However, if we if we didn't know what was going to be good in the fourth quarter, summer would be the time to test it out. So we know what would be good for the fourth quarter. And, a lot of the inventory we get is one offs, like a brand that goes out of business or a store that goes out of business or whatever. So we can't test that brand for then to bring to the fourth quarter because there probably won't be any more of the inventory. But um it's a little bit of both, wouldn't you say, Dusty?
Yeah, I definitely think that we play a little of both, a fine line between the two. We know what works and we hold on to that, but we're also taking smaller risks. I feel like in the fourth quarter, we're willing to take bigger risk on new products, new opportunities, bigger buys, that sort of thing. In the summer, we kind of, like Chris was saying, we try to buy smaller, shorter runs, more variety, so that we're not running into that issue of like getting stuck with a ton of a certain thing that just isn't going well. So yeah. Ari, how do you manage your sourcing strategy during the slower months? Do you stock up, slow down, or shift your focus?
I mean, I'm always buying. Like right now more than ever, like I'm constantly buying. There's sample sales that are happening all the time. There's tons of brands that are sitting on inventory. I think right now, while it's slow, is the time to stock up. Some people might not agree with that, but like I'm constantly building a stockpile, because I like to work off of a 3-month rolling basis with my inventory. So like I hold for 3 months and then move within 3 months. But I think right now, if it's slow, use this time to bang out messages, you know, meet with people, see who has inventory. If you're in whatever state you're in, if you type in online, is there a sample sale happening around me right now? Oh, there is, maybe? Okay, great. Then what you need to do is go on like LinkedIn or even show up in person, introduce yourself and say, hey, I'd like to buy all this inventory post sample sale. Or can I buy any of it in bulk at a better price? You'd be very, very surprised at how many of these sample sales and brands are just looking to not lug this inventory back to a warehouse. And they'd be more than happy you just coming in and buying it. So I think right now is the time to be constantly knocking on doors, taking rejection. And then, at the end of the day, you'll probably hit a bingo.
Love that. Let me see here. Let's swap to our next section. Kind of a segue there. Time management. What do we do with our time in the summer? Because generally you got a little bit more of it. Chris, have slow summer months ever forced you to pivot or adapt your business in a major way?
I have switched to taking all my vacation during the summer. It's just so slow that I almost don't care because there's just not. It's such okay. Like ideally, I don't like to push things uphill, and in pushing and during the summer times, you're just pushing things uphill. And I did something a little different this year than last year, which was last year when this happened, I was feeling the burn of people, and I was like, I have too many people. So I was like, I had a round of layoffs. I think I laid off 3 or 4 people last year out of 20 during this time. And this year I didn't do that. I said, everyone, you're going to work harder in the winter, and then we're all just going to cruise during the summer. But that backfired too, because when people don't show up and you have a smaller team, then it's insane. So I actually don't know how to handle that part of it. The staffing part, I don't know. I know sales are going to be slower, and I think about what Ari just said, and if I were to hold inventory and for 3 months and then sell inventory for three, if my turnover was 6 months, I would need $9 million. And that's beyond my amount of money that I have. So that I'm actually looking to do 1 month. And I look at like companies like Costco, and they only operate at 11% profit because they move things quote unquote too fast. But I'm scared of doing the 1 year hold, which is Walmart's model. And Walmart has a 1% model. They take every deal. It's profitable, they take it. And that scares me because Walmart, they're if you think about the size of a Walmart versus a Costco, it's enormous. So I don't have the bandwidth. So I think I'm actually shrinking the number of SKUs and the turnover rate. And I see some sellers that have only a 3 week turn. There's a girl that I know that only operates out of her garage. It is purchased. You wait like a week or two for it to come, and she's buying small orders, so it ships faster. Selling all of it within 30 days, she's selling all of it, including ordering it, very fast. And I was like, that is very nimble and very low overhead. And of course, her margins are going to be smaller, but it's okay because there's no inventory stuck. If I had 6 months of inventory for my business, that's $9 million, and if I had 1 year of inventory, that's $18 million. So the opposite is that if you do that, your margins are high because you're buying such a low price. So I don't know how to balance that. I'm currently in the I would like to sell things in 30-day mode, which means I'm just buying small lots. It literally like comes in the loading area, gets packed. It doesn't even get into the warehouse. That's how fast it's selling. It's like being unloaded and sorted, and it's going out within a week because it's so different. 500 units is like so cute and nice to work with. And then you get a truckload. That's not cute. 26 pounds is not cute. It's
Yeah,
it's like a whale.
we're definitely kind of all the same things, Chris. We fell into the pitfall of thinking post fourth quarter, we're like, okay, let's just drop down our staff. And we actually dropped down to 3 streamers. And we were
Yep.
like, okay, we're just going to put on a few shows a day and they're going to be
Yep.
huge and awesome. And then the
Yep.
slowdown hit and we're like, what's going on here? And we weren't anywhere close to where we needed to be on our budget. So that's when we started to kind of scale it back up because we needed more hours to get to where we needed to be. And then inventory wise, like we talked about, kind of the same deal where we're kind of shrinking it down with one caveat. Summertime is our fourth quarter playground. We buy heavy in the summertime for the fourth quarter, but generally everything outside of that comes in and it's out in a month's time. That's how we operate our business. That's how we've always done it. But I think we have like 10 storage units full of Christmas stuff right now. Anything we can get our hands on, this is the time of year to buy it. And we know how big the fourth quarter is, and we just love Christmas in general. So that's the only real caveat to our buying strategy right now. Okay. Next, let's do Ari. What's a behind the scenes task you always tackle during the slower months that pays off big later?
I think honestly, it's something I'm doing a lot behind the scenes right now. Is we've sent Gabe officially to go to the warehouse every single day, because in the past we were just leaving it to a warehouse manager there. But now, since it's a slower time, I'm actually having Gabe there every single day, communicating with me what we have. He's making sure everything's being counted correctly, that we're able to bundle whatever we need to bundle if we're going to do wholesale. Right now, this time of the year, like I'm mainly focused on I'm working less inside the business, but outside of the business. So like we're about to launch our website next week. It's going to be really, really cool. And then the following week, we're launching wholesale. So I've been gearing up on this now for, I want to call it the past 6 months, but we are going to have a static marketplace that is going to have anywhere between 30 to 50 pallets on there at any given time. And we are going to offer the best inventory out there. It might not be like the hottest brands in the beginning, but I will tell you what, we are going to put an end to anybody getting screwed over by brokers or jobbers. It is going to be the most clear inventory that you can buy that is going to make you set up to be successful in a live sales environment, whether it's on Whatnot, whether you're on Poshmark Live, whether you're on Jamble, Wamble, it does not matter. We are going to be building something called transparency in wholesale. So that's kind of what I've been working on the past couple months in the slower season, is getting all of these other projects outside of the business launched. That way, when things start speeding up again, we can go full storm. Like I bought a lot of 20,000 units of something recently, and I'm going to wholesale all of it. I know it's a product that other people are already wholesaling, but the difference with me is that you're not just going to get stuck with 5 of the same dress, 10 of the same dress, 20 of the same item, 300 of the same item. You're going to get a mix that is guaranteed to resell. So that's just some of the things that I've been working on behind the scenes in the slower time.
Yeah, I think that's good stuff, and we're definitely obviously really excited for you. That's going to be really, really great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
We're
so
kinda
stoked to share
we're
it
in the
with all
same
of you
boat.
guys
We're
too.
working on Yes, we're working on a clothing line this summer. So we're pretty excited about that. It's something that Laura and I have been focusing on for about 2 years. So, yeah. All right, next one, Laura, is there any area of the business you focus more on in the summer?
We can't hear you.
I think it's good. Yeah. Did we cut off for you guys?
You
I can
cut
hear
out
you.
on my end.
Did I? So the next question is, Laura, is there any area of the business you focus more on in the summer, like training or inventory acquisition?
Yeah. We just hired a couple new streamers and we're training them to go back to do the 24 hours a day streaming for the fourth quarter. Um a lot of training. We've moved around our warehouse space, our shipping department and our eBay. We moved the whole thing around. So we moved shipping over to its own shipping station area now, so it's not by any inventory, nothing like that. And solely because the last year, the fourth quarter, shipping department got so congested that they just couldn't operate. So there's been a lot of things that we've had to change just with like scaling and the amount of employees we have. Um, so yeah, training and like Dusty said, we're buying a ton of Christmas and Halloween for fourth quarter.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Last section. Let's get creative. Ari, what are some of the things you've tried to drive sales during the summer slowdown?
I think just bringing more higher tier brands right now. Like people need to have a reason to shop, I think, right now. So like I'm going after a lot of more higher end name brands that, have a lot of power behind them. Because I'm noticing right now, like any of like not gonna say anything like lower tier, but like, a lot of the brands that are on Whatnot are, a whole diversity of brands. But what I'm noticing is like, for example, if I have some brands in my arsenal right now that I know I just better hold on to right now because during this time of the year people are very selective of what they're buying. They'd rather spend their money on a vacation than buying 10 shirts that they might wear. So I think what I has been working for me is like stocking up on some of that other inventory right now that I can sell in higher volume when the time is right. But now I'm doing a lot more slower sales with some more higher tier inventory and charging a much more premium price because it is super premium inventory. So I think it just really depends, on what inventory I'm currently selling in my arsenal. But I think what's really working the best right now is that more selective, higher tier, harder to get type of inventory versus me just going
Ari,
on
what's
camera and
an
running.
arsenal?
Like an arsenal would be just like a whole bunch of stuff if you
Oh.
think about it, you know. So
Awesome. Laura, have you tried different sales avenues during the summer?
Avenues as far as like elsewhere and whatnot?
Correct.
Yes. Well, we started eBay. We got asked to stream for them. Um, so we're doing that, starting that up now to hopefully get on this about the same level as whatnot. Probably not by this fourth quarter, but hopefully by next. We started our storefront, which I think has been amazing,
Wow.
especially in the summer here. some days it's too hot and I could tell like our sales are slower, but it's definitely helped buoy the days that doesn't go well and whatnot. Our community has rallied around us like mind-boggling. Um, so very lucky to have that. And then what else have we done, Dusty? I think
Yeah, I
that's
think the
it.
biggest ad definitely is the storefront. I think that
That's great.
it's a dual edged sword too,
That's amazing.
where you're getting those local sales, but you're also getting customers that can do local pickup on Whatnot. So they'll come, they'll shop our store, and then they'll jump on our Whatnot that night and they'll buy more products, or they'll come in to do a local pickup and they'll be like, "Oh, well, I'm already here. I might as well drop into the store." So it's really cool, and you get to meet your buyers face to face, which is awesome, and it's created kind of this buzz in our community, which is really cool.
It
Uh,
also helps. Sorry, it also helps when you go meet with brands and you tell them you have a storefront instead of just live
Mm,
selling.
yeah,
interesting.
as we've looked into the process of kind of starting a clothing brand, one of those biggest pieces is that a lot of those brands don't want to work with somebody who does not have a storefront. And so creating a more appealing storefront to show, hey, we can do both things. We can sell and do liquidation. We also buy wholesale, which we already
I love
currently
it.
do. And we can bring those higher price points by putting it in our store as well. So it's kind of a foot in the door. And we kind of did that with the POL. POL is a big one for us. So we got our foot in the door by buying wholesale, and then we kind of worked a backdoor opportunity, like Ari was talking about, where we get rid of their excess inventory that they don't need, off size, or it's last season stuff. So it's been a really cool relationship, and it's offered more opportunities for us to kind of make those relationships, which is
I
why you
love it.
see us travel into more of the magic shows, the Dallas shows, things like that, because we get those wholesale opportunities and then kind of work the Whatnot angle from there. So that's definitely been a benefit for us. Chris, do you increase your social media presence in the summer? If so, what does that look like?
I used to, when I did social media more actively, I was more active during the summer because I had more time because it wasn't that busy. The first 4 years of my reselling career, I only had one employee. So it wasn't really that big. And um, then I went from one employees to three employees, and one of the employees was just social media. So when I was posting daily on social, my YouTube income went to six figures. So that also like is interesting because your ad revenue goes up a lot when you share. So like I'm sorry, it's like directly correlated to how often you share. So I think there is something. I just watched a podcast with Gary Vee, and I think he's wrong with and. He's always like, you can do this and you can do TikTok and YouTube. You can do TikTok and YouTube and whatnot. You can do TikTok, whatnot. You can just keep adding it, but that's not true. Like for unless you spend $40,000 a month on social, you can't just keep adding it, and it doesn't make you like you get stretched thin, and the people who are on 20 different platforms, it can't be authentic because you don't have enough time to do it. So for the social media, for me, when it was just me or one other person posting daily on one platform, it grows so fast. You're only making content for one kind of platform, instead of like literally when you're making multi-platform content, you should refilm the same thing four times because each platform is slightly different. You can repurpose it. That's one way of doing it, but I feel like the daily posting on one platform, unless you're very large, is very difficult. And the daily posting, you can get as many as 50% of your sales from social, which is insane. Imagine you have 100 sales and 50 of them that day were from your Instagram posts. That starts to happen. You'll see channels like Harry Tornado, up to 80% of a show could go to people who just watched the video that day. So very, very, very good conversion. And I know TikTok has a higher conversion. And if you guys watch like Shop 801 Lane, she gets 100 plus people a day from TikTok into her whatnot. Incredible. Super cool. But I think it's because she does one platform, right? Really good at it. Post regularly. You only have so much time. So she has one platform going in, and I also want to point out that it might increase in the summer, but that doesn't mean like you post zero outside of the summer. Like you post once a week all year during the summer, you post 7 times a week, that will definitely work. But if you just start in the summer with one post a week and you weren't doing anything before, that's not going to work. It's hard to get it launched in the summer. Um, all people start listening to podcasts and stuff like in October. So like our podcast right now in October, people are going to listen to every single episode. Right now, they're really not listening to anything, not us, not anything. So it's like a weird from October to March, people spend a ton of money and they consume all the podcasts and they do everything all those 5 months, and they kind of just veg out the rest of the year. So that's just like kind of how these cycles work, and I've seen it in social media. It 100% works during the summer. It's kind of like what we just said earlier. It's more short posts and about what you found, and then like I have these 10 things in my show. I'll see you at 4. That 100% works.
It's a fun observation. Hi to everybody who's finding us in October right now, by the way.
Yes.
Glad you're here. Thanks for being here. That's amazing, though. We only do one social platform that we have that direct correlation with, and that's our Facebook page. We update that numerous times a day regularly just because that's kind of how our local community finds us. And then we have posts on there every day about here's who's live, here's what's going on. But yeah, outside of that, in this podcast, we don't really post a lot on socials. It's something we want to be better at, but we definitely struggle in that area. Okay, we got about 10 minutes, and we're going to try to cruise through the rest of this. So I have a couple questions from our followers, and then beyond that, we're going to do our rapid fire questions. So anybody can take these. Here's our first one, and the question was, at what point did you realize you could do this full time? Not everybody at once.
So I realized I could do it full time when my side hustle income was bigger than my regular income. So I guess I just waited until I made more money on my side hustle, and I had dual income for about 6 months. So like I saved a lot. If you guys can be patient and like from 5 p.m. till whenever you fall asleep, you're making more money or the same money as you did from 9 to 5. Then and I did that before I had kids, so that was like an important distinction. So like it's just that's what I need.
Well, I had a choice.
Yeah.
Am I muted?
No, you're good now.
Oh, I was gonna say for me, I just took the leap of faith. I didn't actually like know that it. I didn't realize it was gonna it was gonna be like a full-time job. I just kind of thought, oh well, let's just do it because I don't like my 9 to 5. Um, but then I would say 6 months, 4 months into it, I had to ask Dusty to quit his channel in sports cards and be like, because I was like, I'm shipping it all myself. I'm having shows myself. I'm sourcing myself. I can't do it. So
Can I just jump in real quick? That if you can't ship it, that's almost like guaranteed you can do it full time. That's like that's the key of all my years of doing this. It's not I don't like taking photographs, so I hired a photographer. That's not it. If you can't ship it because there's too many orders, you probably can do it full time. That's a key indicator.
Love that. Okay, the next one, we kind of touched on this earlier. Do you think more followers equals more buyers?
Not at all.
That's
no
short
way.
enough.
We all have over 100,000 subscribers. That doesn't mean anything. Subscribers on Whatnot means absolutely nothing. There's days that I'll have 20 people in my show. There's days I'll have 200 people in my show. It's all just a number, honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have on our second channel, we have almost 60,000 followers, and today we're running a show with 15 people in there.
The best 15 people in the world.
Exactly. But also last night we on our second channel had 130 people in there, but on our main 40. So
I
Yeah.
think that you
You
can
just
go. Ari did a show with Ari did a show with somebody that was just starting, and it went pretty viral. Like there was more than 100 people on like a first or second show.
You talking about the show I did with my girlfriend?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that TikTok has mastered allowing anybody to go viral. I do think followers matter a little bit. YouTube, Instagram, they recommend it more if you have some followers. I think on Whatnot, they recommend it more if you have followers, if you have transactions per hour, GMV per hour, and if people are staying on your stream, that's probably number one for recommending. So like, I think you're right, Ari. I mean, everyone was saying that it doesn't matter too much because I think if you are interesting, people don't leave. It's all about churn. I think everyone gets a chance. Whatnot's giving everyone a chance. It's just, can you keep the person in the stream?
Yeah,
mhm.
I think that's good. Obviously, the more exposure that you have,
Yeah,
the more people that have a chance of cycling through your show,
yeah,
odds are you're probably going to have some more buyers. But in the end, you can
yeah.
have a ton of followers and you may not have everybody show up. It comes down to your production and your product that you have.
I think they said
Okay,
that if you can get people to buy 4 times, that's like a really, really from you. That's you have like that is that super buyer is very important. And sometimes they don't follow you, but they don't even know how to follow you, but they bought from you 4 times, and now they're being recommended that because they're like, obviously you bought from Laura 4 times, you must like her, so now they're going to put her back in her feed. So like, I think also people don't know what following is. Like, and how many times are you saying that? Hit this button if you want to know,
Or how to bookmark,
or how to bookmark.
or
You don't know, yeah. So
how to, yeah, it's, yeah.
yeah. Okay, next one, and we all get this one a lot. I'll kind of start with it, but the question is, what are your thoughts on fakes being sold on Whatnot?
oof,
And we can just let you know that this is a very unfortunate part of any sales channel. This is not specific to Whatnot, but I do think by it being a live stream and faster sales, it's amplified. You see it more, people fall into it more, they get sucked into a show and they buy a whole bunch of them. Just know there is a trust and safety team in any sort of sales platform out there. eBay, Facebook, Instagram, whatnot, you name it, it has a trust and safety team, and that team is comprised to stop that. But I do think that it's an easier task on an app like eBay where it's a static sale. When it's a static sale, it's easier to comb through everything that's going on. Keywords, we're looking at certain things like Louis Vuitton. Okay, we know they're faked very often. Okay, we're going to key in on those things, and it's an easier metric. It's an easier problem to solve. You go on Whatnot and somebody's show could be labeled bags for sale and they're selling Louis Vuittons, or it could be makeup show and then somebody brings in Louis Vuittons and they have no clue that that's been sold until afterwards. So they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't really exist until the second it exists. So that's what I'll say. We have crossed paths with a ton of the individuals that run the categories on Whatnot, and I can tell you from personal experience, they are very high integrity individuals. They care a lot about what they're doing, and this is not a paid promotion for Whatnot or anything like that. They don't sponsor us, but they're good people. They want to do well. But when new buyers are coming on or new sellers are coming on every single day, there's gonna be those issues. And as much as they want to put the fires out, it's a big undertaking. So that's my piece on it. They're doing everything that they can. They're trying to limit the gambling. They're trying to limit the mystery boxes. They're trying to get rid of the surprise sets. They're trying to take the mystery out of anything so that people are having a good buying experience. And that's what we in this group want. But regardless, no matter where you go, there's going to be some of that. And you guys can jump in if you got anything else to say about that.
If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think part
That's
of
what
it
I'm gonna
is just
say.
buyer education too.
You can't get a
Like,
Louis Vuitton purse for $20. That's all I got to say.
unless you go down the canal street.
You can't.
Love it. All right, so we'll
Not a
move on
real
from that
one.
one. We got some rapid fire questions. You guys ready? And some of these were actually comments. So if you're watching right now and you want to be featured in our rapid fire, make sure you leave a comment. Just let us know, hey, I got this question, and we will tackle it. Are we ready, team?
Yeah.
As short of answers as we can do, and we'll wrap it up on this. All right. Laura, biggest mistake you've made in the summer?
Not being at the pool.
Ooh, I love that. Ari, do you make staff cuts in the summer?
Yes.
Okay. Chris, best summer product. Oh, dang, you already answered this.
Labubu.
La boo boo.
Labubu,
No,
baby.
they're so ugly.
All right. Ari, do you sell summer clothes or stick with year-round items?
Seasonal, baby.
Okay. Love that. Laura, is summer your time to reset or push harder?
Both.
Okay. All right. Chris, do you prep for Q4 during the summer or wait until the fall?
Right now, summer.
Love that. All right. Laura, one word to describe your summer sales strategy.
Slow. Wait, what?
That's your strategy? We're just going to go real slow.
No. What was the question?
One word to describe your summer sales strategy.
Work harder.
Ooh, love that. That's 2 words, but we'll take it. Ari?
Harder.
Harder is perfect.
I love that. Ari, when sales drop, what's your first move?
Party.
Give up.
Party? All right. Chris, what's your summer slowdown mantra?
Stay the course.
Ooh, I like that. Laura, end of summer strategy. Clean out or restock?
Restock.
I like that. Yep. Ari, summer holidays. I'm live or I'm on vacation?
I'm always live.
Love that. All right. And Chris, finish it off. Do you change your titles to include summer or summary keywords?
No.
Okay. There you have it. All right, fam. Has anybody got any closing thoughts before we tie this episode up?
Stop sponsoring giveaways.
Okay, I got a question for you, Ari, because you bring it up every single time. So let's say there's a reasonable priced item that's not like a $100 gift card you could sponsor for $500. Let's say it's like a super tiny little guy for a little amount of money. Are you still against that?
Yeah, always. Why are you gonna pay for, like, if you really do care about others being successful and whatnot, be in a community, you're not gonna take money to just shout somebody's show out or have them promote in your stream. It's a waste of time. Stop sponsoring giveaways. Stop buying your PS5 backbones and your labubus and your shabubus. Just be genuine and help others out. That's it. And stop buying sponsorshipped giveaways.
There's a documentation of a person who spent $125,000 in those, and
And did they make any money?
They haven't done their first show yet.
I think I know who you're talking about.
They have
What are you doing?
a lot of followers, like 17,000 followers already from this, right? Which is a significant amount of followers, but still no sales.
Well, did
When
you
anybody
start-
comes into my show and they want to promote, you can just ask. If any of my hosts say no, I'm going to fire them. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
I have one
No,
final
and-
thought I wanted to share with you guys, but go ahead, Laura.
I was just gonna say, anyone knows that when they come to our shows, it's a family-based, feeling. When you come there, you come as you are. If you're wanting to start, selling on whatnot, you can always ask first. The only thing we ask is that you ask first, and we also don't allow you to promote someone else. We want them to come in, so if there's questions, they can ask those questions. But
Yeah, we're
we've
rolling
never-
into somebody's show and promoting a show that's going on at the same time.
Yeah, that's
a
rude.
big no-no.
That's a table manner no-no.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. All right, Chris, let's
Unless
hear
you're selling labubus.
You ready for my story? So I went into a consignment shop because I've been selling a lot to local consignment shops, and the buyer who was buying stuff there was a homeless person who was last in line, and then me with 2 bags. And the lady said, "Hold on one second, everybody." And she went to the back of the line where the homeless person was like, "It's like, oh, what are you trying to do?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm trying to sell some of this stuff for some money." And she looked through the bag and she's like, "This is normally not stuff that we would take. I'm happy to give you $2 for it, and then we'll donate it." And he said, "Oh, great, that would be so awesome." So she took the bag of clothes from him. She walked over to the donation pile. She put it there. She wrote her little receipt. The guy went to the cashier. He got $2 out. He was super happy and he left. And I just think, can you imagine an employee that would do that? Like, notice that there's somebody in the store that might be a distraction, right? Take care of that person, because the owner would have been fine with giving them $20, right? And just help somebody out. Everyone online was like super impressed. This lady just like, I'm sure getting paid minimum wage or a little bit more. How did she care that much about the person that came in, all the people in line, the store, and like, and then this store has a 20% off coupon, a 20%
Good
off
human.
instant savings if you post a picture of yourself wearing the item, yeah, in your Instagram. Like, you post it on your story or a reel, we'll give you 20% off right now. And then while she was up there letting the guy out, somebody's like, "I want to get my 20%." And she went, "That is not a good enough picture. The whole point of this is to help our store. This picture is ugly and you're not even in. This doesn't work for social media. We're not giving you 20% off for this." And she's not the owner. And I'm like, wow, like, you should come work for me. Whatever price you want to work, you can work in my store. How do you care this much? And
That's
I was
amazing.
just super impressed by an employee doing that. So
This is
it
a
just,
PSA. If anybody out there is that type of person, you just
Yeah.
apply
We're hiring.
any of our channels here. Yeah,
We're
yeah.
hiring.
You just
Please.
give us
We're
a message.
hiring.
Oh
And
yeah.
come on out. We hired somebody this week that moved all the way from Tennessee to come and be a part of our
Wow.
crazy
Wow.
end here.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's amazing. I don't know if that says
We're in
something about
Minnesota,
us
by
or
the way.
her.
Is she a seller or is it more? Wow.
She'll be
She's
a
gonna be a
seller.
live seller. She starts tonight, so tune in.
Wow.
Well,
Are you
nobody's
guys
watching
going
this
back
till
to your
October,
24-hour
so
shows?
we are a few days a week. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah,
It's
We
amazing.
will be in the fourth quarter.
our goal, I think, was 240 hours live a week
Wow.
starting next week. And we have our whole July
240?
schedule done already.
You're gonna make Chris pull his hair out.
Yeah.
Wait, how many?
Is
240?
240, I think. So,
240
yeah.
a week.
Okay, wow.
So
That's
almost
insane.
live the entire day.
Well,
My goal is 147.
So
Ooh.
that's between 2 channels and then
Yes,
eBay.
between 2 channels. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see. It's gonna be good.
And our storefront is open 6 days a week. Closed on
It's almost
Monday.
It's almost 1,000 hours a month. That's insane.
Just got to keep grinding. Yeah,
You got it.
it lowers the overhead for each hour. So
Yeah.
that's our goal. All right, we better wrap this thing up. Thank you to everybody who came and made it this far through our crazy episode. As always, we appreciate all of you. If you could take a second and like this video, give us a follow, share it with your friends. We've got an Instagram you can check out our reels on, so make sure you give that a follow as well. And if you got any questions, leave us a comment. We read every comment, every message that comes through. We will give you a response. So leave us questions that you want in next week's episode, or if you got an episode idea, let us know. We're here for you guys. We want to grow together. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.